Okay, so for this week's lesson, we're going to be focusing on phrasing and how do you sound more professional? How do you sound like a singer when you're improvising a lead as opposed to just running through a scale and sounding like one big run-on sentence? That's how I used to sound. I know when I first started playing, I was actually pretty good with my ear. I could figure out the key of the song and I would go right into the pentatonic scales and stuff. But I remember listening to a recording of myself, and I'd been playing for a few years, and I thought, man, it just sounds like I'm going up and down a scale. And that's really what I was doing. I didn't really know what else to do. I had learned the boundaries, but I didn't really know what to do with those boundaries. How do you tell a story with that? And so that's what we're going to be looking at in this video. We're going to take the lead that I just played, break it down note for note. I'll show you where all those notes come from so that you can steal the licks and use them in other things. That's the idea behind all these lessons. But in this video, we're going to go through the first half of that. If you'd like to watch the second half, download the tablature and also get the MP3 jam track so that you can practice playing everything that we're going to go through. And I have it in multiple tempos. I have a slower version of that as well. You can get all of those extra materials for this lesson by going to activemelody.com and doing a search for EP616. So yeah, when it comes to playing lead, sometimes it's that dead space. It's like the notes that you don't play end up meaning just as much, maybe even more than the notes that you do play. And so we're going to be thinking about playing a lead like a singer. We're going to be singing with our fingers as we do this. And when you think about a singer singing, they are telling a story, but they're also stopping and they're taking breaths to get to the next phrase. Well, we need to be doing that too as a guitar player. That serves two purposes. One, it gives the singer a chance to take a breath, but it's also nice for the audience, for the listener, to get that little break to think about the phrase that was just said. And so I have to kind of think about phrases, and I like space in between them. Sometimes it's cool as a guitar player to hear somebody just go into town. I mean, I'm not saying that you always phrase everything, but even when you're going to town, there's little phrases that are happening within it. And so when I play this lead, first of all, I'm going back and forth between two chords. We have a B and an A, which we'll get to here in a minute. But I played that and think of that as like a call, and the response to that. And then I wait. And so you can almost put lyrics to that. You can think of what I'm playing here like a singer. I'm creating a vocal line with my finger, and I'm using only the pentatonic scale. So everything we're going to be doing scale-wise is going to be either major or minor pentatonic scale. We're starting off with the B major pentatonic scale. We'll get into the B minor pentatonic scale, but in the key of the song. I'm not following chord changes. I'm not worrying about anything. I'm just trying to phrase like a singer. And I don't care if it's fancy. I don't care if it's blowing somebody's mind. That is not the point of this at all. This is just trying to make music that fits over that jam track and is telling a story, and it's something you want to kind of listen to. You kind of want to see where it's going. At least to me, that sounds more interesting. So the song is in the key of B, and it starts off with this B to an A, and I'm doing that with one finger. So I want you to take your index finger and bar here on the 4th fret, bar the first 4 strings. We're going to play strings 4, 3, and 2. That triad is your B triad. And maybe you hadn't thought about that yet. That triad lives inside of your A shape. I don't need to make the full chord. Anytime you see a chord in a chord chart, you don't have to make all those notes. It's just a suggestion. Those are the notes that are being used. You could just play 2 notes if you want. that's fine too, especially with a jam track. You've got a bass player covering the low end and all that. But that's what I did, is I just used that triad there with one finger, and I played that and then slid it down 2 frets and then played that same, strings 4, 3, and 2 on the 2nd fret now, and now I'm getting an A. And so what I'm doing there, the song is in the key of B, so that first chord is our B. When it goes down 2 frets to the A, that's the flat 7 of your B. That's how I'm thinking about this anyway. So you have your B, you go down, there's your major 7, and then you go down to the flat 7. And so the perfect scale to play over this would actually be the B Mixolydian scale, because it's got your major 3rd. Well, it's got your major 3rd and your flat 7. There's the flat 7. And that flat 7 is your A note. So it would be a perfect match. But what I'm doing when I'm playing this, I didn't start off thinking Mixolydian. I went right to the pentatonics. That's usually where I start, by the way, when I'm improvising, just to get the ball rolling. I start there and I can branch into other things if I want. But I found that the major pentatonic scale was just perfect for this. There'll be a few little, we'll add in some colorful notes to that, but it's mainly just pattern 1 of my major pentatonic scale. And this triad, my B chord, lives inside of that. So that should be a light bulb for somebody out there when you see that. Oh yeah, I can see that triad living inside of my B major pentatonic scale. There's my B note on the 3rd string, 4th fret 3rd string. There's a B note up here where my pinky hit on the 7th fret 1st string. There's also one down here on the 7th fret 6th string. Let's listen to the first little bit and then we'll talk about what's going on. Okay, so as soon as the jam track kicks in, I'm playing that. Now you can strum that if you want to just strum it, or you can hybrid pick. I think what I was doing was hybrid picking, which means I was picking on that 4th string, and then I was using these 2 fingers to pluck strings 2 and 3. It doesn't matter either way. You could do it either way, but that's what I was doing. So I did one of those the first time. The second time I went, and then just came up here with my pinky to hit the 5th fret 2nd string, just to add a little embellishment off that. And then I came back and did it again. So we have, now this 4th time, so that was 3. The 4th time I played a lick, I went, and so what I did for that lick, I started off doing this half bend. It's on the 1st fret 3rd string. I do a half bend there with my index finger. Bend and release. And then we come down to the 4th fret 4th string. So we have, and then 2nd fret, and then watch this. This is going into the B major pentatonic scale pattern 1. So I slide up to the 6th fret 5th string, and then the 4th fret 4th string. Slide back down, using my ring finger, down to the 4th fret 5th string, and then land on this B note here on the 2nd fret. So this part was just major pentatonic scale. This was sliding in. That was the only part where I'm actually not playing out of this major pentatonic scale pattern 1. I've kind of forgotten about this when I was setting this up, but this is doing this half bend, and I'm hitting this note, which is the flat 7 of my B. So I was really accenting that flat 7 here. And these notes would technically be in my B Mixolydian scale, I guess you could say. But then I came into major pentatonic scale. We're going to be major pentatonic scale from here on out. All right, so now all of that was really just the setup. So we have 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to start where the phrasing would be for a vocal. That's kind of how I thought about it. So all of that was kind of my setup. And when I play that, I play it like this. So that would be my first vocal call. We're going to think of this like a call and response. The vocal part's going to be the call. It'll be saying something, and then the response will be... Okay, so the call then... So it starts here on that B, down on the 2nd fret, 5th string, and then we're going to slide my ring finger up to the 6th fret, 5th string. Once I'm up here, I'm in major pentatonic scale pattern 1, and we're going to stay in here in pattern 1 for the rest of this. So that's just major pentatonic scale. And then coming up here to the 7th fret, 4th string, and grabbing that. That note is my flat 7 again. So again, I was hitting on that flat 7. That's my A note. And then to conclude that phrase, I slid up to this 6th fret, 5th string again, and then came to the 4th fret, 3rd string. So that's what the phrase sounds like. So then after I played that call, I went right into the response. So check this out. Without the jam track, it's like this. Because the timing of that, and I could hear the jam track, obviously, when I was improvising. I knew where we were with the jam track. So it made sense after I played that little lick to come down to the A, and then hit the B to the A again. And so I do that in between just to give it a break. It also gives me a chance to think of what to do next, which is another important part of all of this. It's the same with a vocalist, kind of remember what the next line is. Although I didn't have a line memorized, but I kind of could figure out what I wanted to say next. All right, so then the next call has a similar kind of line because we're thinking like a vocalist. We're kind of repeating a verse, I guess. So I played. And that's got the little nuances like a singer. Let's get into that. So we'll start here on this B note down here, 2nd fret, 5th string, but I played it 4 times with the right hand, just to give it a little variation from the first time. We're going to slide back to that 6th fret, 5th string, and then watch this. Just walk right up the pentatonic, up to that 4th fret, 3rd string. Now from here, watch this. So from here, we're going to do a slide from the 6th fret. This is on the 3rd string. All this is on the 3rd string from here on out. So slide from the 6th fret to the 8th fret. And then we're going to do a hammer-on from the 4th fret to the 6th fret. So it's these little nuances. This doesn't seem like much, but a slide followed up with a hammer-on. And then another slide going from the 7th fret to the 6th fret. It's got the little characteristics of a vocal line. And then we go back to the 4th fret, 3rd string, 6th fret, 4th string, and then we land on that 4th fret, 3rd string with some vibrato, which is another vocal quality. When we do vibrato as a guitar player, you're simulating the voice. That's why you do that. So just like that's important, so are the breaks, so are these... Just like a vocalist would do. I mean, that to me, I feel I can't do that with my voice, but I can do it with my fingers. And so I can express myself. Those little ideas I have, those R&B kind of sounds that I hear vocalists doing, just like a singer can do, you know? That's a great little phrase. If you learn nothing else, just steal that lick. So to conclude that phrase, I came back to that 6th fret, 4th string. And then I waited and then jumped in when the jam track came around to, right? So I went back into that B to an A. Okay, so now the jam track is going to change. We have been just playing B to an A, right? But now it's going to go like this. It's going to go A, E, A, E. Now E is in the key of B. It's actually the 4 chord in the key of B. That A is not in the key of B, but it is the flat 7. But what I'm going to play over this, when I was just improvising this, I didn't think about, I could hear the jam track. I wrote the jam track, so obviously, but when I wrote the jam track, I wasn't thinking about what to play for a lead. I thought I'll figure that out down the road. So when I heard that, the first thing that I wanted to do there was just to create some contrast between all the major pentatonic scale stuff. And so what I did was I went to the minor pentatonic scale for this next part, but for the key of the song. So I stayed in the key of the song. I stayed in the key of B. So I'm going to be playing the B minor pentatonic. And that works perfectly over this next part. Now, I could have stayed in the E major pentatonic scale, which would have been fine, but I'm just trying to, you know, the song changed gears, and I was wanting to change gears to something else too, just to create a contrast, just to kind of follow the jam track. There are no rules with this stuff, though. You have to do what you feel, and that's what I felt was... So let me show you what I'm playing here. I'm doing a hammer-on between the 3rd fret and the 5th fret on the 2nd string, and then I go back to that 3rd fret 2nd string. These notes, by the way, are my B minor pentatonic scale pattern 4. That's where I'm at. And then I'm going to come down to the 3rd string and play 4, 2, and then I'm going to go down to the 4th string and do a quick slide with my ring finger from the 4th fret down to the 2nd fret, open D, back to the 2nd fret, and then back to that open D. So it's like, that's the lick. Pretty cool little bluesy lick in the key of B, right inside your B minor pentatonic scale pattern 4. Oh, notice that little, the hammer on, but then when I came to this note, this 3rd fret 2nd string, I push it sharp a little bit. Anytime I'm on the flat 3 like that you hear that in the blues all the time, and vocalists will do it too. You're pushing towards the major 3rd, but you don't get there. You just go, and it creates a nice little bluesy tension. Hear that in the blues? And you got it in different spots. Like if you're up here in pattern 1, which we're about to go to, you've got it right here. Same note. You don't quite get there. It's still a little bit flat, but it's just creating enough interest. So that's another little thing you can do to sound more vocally with your phrasing. So then I came up to B minor pentatonic scale pattern 1, which is up here, and I played this. Let's look at that. And notice I didn't do this because that's kind of obvious, and I also didn't do anything on the 1st string. We're so tempted to do that when we come into this pattern 1, but I've found that that a lot of times if you don't get any higher than the 2nd string, it's a cool sound. It's a cool vibe. It's not going where you thought it was going to go. So that's the first part of that. So you're sliding up to the 9th fret 4th string, and then you're playing 7th fret 3rd string, and then you come to the 9th fret 3rd string, do a full bend, and then hit that same note that you bent to on the 7th fret 2nd string. I love that lick. And then a pre-bend release on the 9th fret 3rd string down to the 7th fret 3rd string. Back to the 9th fret 3rd string, 9th fret 4th string. So it's like this. And And then after that 7th fret 3rd string, I hit that note, down to the 9th fret 4th string, and then watch this. I'm going to do a quick slide from the 9th fret 5th string down to the 7th fret, down to the 5th fret, all on the 5th string. And there's that flat 3, pushing it sharp a little bit. So it's like this. And notice that time the phrasing didn't work out for me to come back to that B and A. I just kept playing through it. So you can do that. You can alternate this stuff and mix it up. And then after that, I came down here and played. So let's look at that. This is really a lot of repeat of what we've done. So I'm coming back to this B note here. That's sort of my starting point. I kind of start here and slide into my major pentatonic scale, if you haven't noticed. So anyway, 2nd fret 5th string, and I did it 4 times again, down, up, down, up. And then watch this. So we're gonna slide back to, just like we've done before, up to the 6th fret 5th string, 4th fret 4th string, 6th fret 4th string, and then from here, I'm gonna come up to the 7th fret on the 4th string, and then put my index finger down on the 4th fret 3rd string and play this. Listen to that sound, that dissonant sound, that little clash you've got. And what I'm doing there, this note, by coming up to this note, that's my flat 7 again. So that's my A note. That's just another place to play an A note. And I often play this 7 chord. So this would be like a B7, where I've got my bar there, like we've been doing, but then I use this note with it, this flat 7. And so anyway, that's what I was picturing, was that. So just hit that twice. 4, 3, 4, 3. Those are the string numbers. And then quick slide back to this 6th fret on the 4th string, down to the 4th fret, back, do a hammer on now between the 4th fret and the 6th fret, and then sort of end that phrase on the 4th fret 4th string. And then I go right back into the response after that. So altogether, that last call and response sounds like that. And so hopefully you're starting to see what's happening here. You're seeing that there's a lot of space where we're not playing stuff. And even if you didn't want to play the call or the response part, that would be fine too, especially with a full band. It would actually make it, I think it would, in some ways it would make more sense if you were playing this live to let the band do that, and then you just fill in. And then let them do the response. But in this lesson, I just want to give you options, and so it's okay to come up here and mirror that response. All right, so we have the other part. There's another section to the solo where we go into a whole other thing. I'm going to save that for the part 2 video. So if you like this video, if you found this useful, please leave a comment and let me know that. If you've had any light bulb moments or you're seeing something maybe you haven't seen before, or thinking about something in a way you haven't, leave that comment as well. That's always helpful to other people. And I do read through all of them. If you have any questions, you can always leave that as well. I'll see you in part 2 where we'll go over the second half for this.